Well, this definitely wasn't the prettiest. At the end of the day, the Birds go into Lambeau and come out with a dub. We'll talk about that game along with the most recent Eagles news. Plus, we'll preview another tough upcoming matchup when the Birds play the Detroit Lions in primetime at the Link. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. In one of the two ugliest games this past weekend, with the other one being the 10-7 Broncos victory over Las Vegas, the Philly offense didn't look as explosive as people had hoped for after nearly 2 weeks of rest time. Questionable decisions littered the entire game, but at the end of the day, what matters is that the Birds got the win. Let's remember that, y'all. Going into Week 11 with the various NFC losses, including the Packers, the Eagles currently sit at the number 1 seed in the NFC with the Indianapolis Colts leading the AFC, which honestly is a sentence I thought I would never say in this current decade of NFL football. Jalen Hurts would go 15 for 26 passing for 183 yards, 1 touchdown to 0 interceptions, but he did lose a fumble due to a well-timed peanut punch from the Packers defense. And honestly, I was getting livid. I was like, hold on to the damn ball. And then I rewatched that, and I ain't gonna lie, that was a solid job from the Green Bay defender in that moment. Devontae Smith would lead the wide receiver group, a group that struggled with the pass game, with 4 catches for 69 yards and a score, while running back Saquon Barkley achieved 60 yards on the ground with 41 in the air. On the defensive side of the ball, this group did the damn thing, y'all. Linebacker Nakobe Dean accumulated 7 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, and 1 forced fumble. Newest Eagles edge rusher Jalen Phillips made a hell of a Philly debut while working with a very short amount of time. The former Dolphins edge rusher accounted for 6 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits, and a fumble recovery. And I think he forced another fumble. That might have been someone else, but anyway. Additionally, another edge rusher, Jalix Hunt, had a great performance, accounting for 5 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. Overall, the defense held Jordan Love to under 180 passing yards and the Packers offense to just over 100 yards on the ground. Before we get into the takeaways from this game, let's break down some Eagles news. Starting things off, Eagles cornerback Jacorian Bennett was activated off the injury reserve list to the active roster. Bennett suffered a torn pectoral muscle technically in week 1, but he held out all the way through until week 3 when it got more aggravated, putting him on IR. He hops back into a cornerback room that has been half successful and half, I'll say, less than desired. Regardless, we get another cornerback in the lineup, especially after this next piece of shocking news, which, as you all may have known by now, just days, and I'm talking literal days, like 5 days, after being acquired in a trade, cornerback Jair Alexander has informed the Eagles that he is stepping away from football to focus on regaining himself mentally and physically, with retirement likely on the table, and as of Wednesday, the Eagles officially placed him on the reserve/retired list. Now listen, I understand stepping away to focus on things like family, mental health, physical rehabilitation, age, your own feelings and thoughts of the game, whatever the case may be, to improve one's life. I understand stepping away, especially when you just don't feel right about the game or yourself. And I personally think that it is an intellectual and psychologically mature thing to do. The only thing I don't understand, and it's more situational, is why does this type of situation keep happening to the Eagles, man? Yeah, Devontae Parker right before, I think, last season, Zadarius Smith this season, and now Jair Alexander when he was on the team for 5 days. And this was all across the time span of like a year and a half. And it's no disrespect to the players that have done that. Again, I understand the reasons for stepping away. It's just like, does this happen to other teams often? I truly don't know. But this seems excessive for one single team. Whatever the case may be, hopefully Jair accomplishes his intentions with stepping away from football for the time being, so we wish him the best of luck. All right, y'all, I got 3 big takeaways from this Week 10 win, and the first one is that Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo almost cost us this game. That call on 4th and 6 with 35 seconds left in the entire game, just why? We were within field goal range. We could have ran the ball, something, anything to have killed the clock, but no. And this comes with, the habit that I've talked about before with our defense succumbing to points in the fourth quarter across like multiple games. What made them think that this was a good idea? I mean, to be honest, on that play, it did look like defensive pass interference on the Packers' corner, but regardless, the play call was not the best decision. Our offense couldn't do shit the entire night other than the explosive screen to Saquon Barkley and the 36-yard touchdown to Devontae Smith. That was really it. I don't know how much longer I can watch this insanity, but also this inconsistency. It's a paradox in a way that is Kevin Patullo and his play calling. For a while, he's very vanilla. Then we'll have a game or two of an all-out offense. Then we're back to this vanilla bullshit. It's fucking ridiculous. Craig Carton, who I'm not the biggest fan of because he loves to shit on the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, like, religiously, mentioned that he would fire Kevin Patullo if he was in Sirianni's place. And it pains me to say this specific statement, but I agree with Craig. That was pitiful. The problem with Kevin is not just the monotony in the play calling. It is the inability to adjust to your situational or physical conditions. For example, he chose to run the ball on 3rd and 14, and that alone, even in perfect situations, is dumb as hell when teams have limited Saquon's production throughout the majority of the season. Not only did he choose to do the most basic design run that Kevin Patullo just loves to do, but he ran 2 run plays in a row before that resulted in negative yards. One due to field conditions and one due to getting caught up in his own player who tripped because of poor field conditions. It's cold and it's windy. I get not wanting to be too risky in deep passes. I get that. But continuously running up the middle when no one can get like any off the snap traction on the ground, it's redundant and inefficient. We had like 1 to 2 solid screen passes, and they worked. We saw it on that 41-yard screen from Saquon. Why not do variations of that more often? I think the announcers even talked about how like the Eagles just don't do that but like 1 to 2 times, maybe every other game. Patullo's inability to adjust to different situations, whether that be the physical or weather-related conditions, the defense's ability to continuously read his offense, it's a huge liability. It cost us 2 back-to-back games, one of them being a total beatdown to a team that now has a 2-8 record. Did our team get the win this week? Yes, and I am grateful for that. But again, it's the long run that I'm still worried about. And I'm not convinced Kevin's play call style, whatever the hell one would call this, is not capable of producing long-term success. I don't know who we could get to replace Patullo, but at this rate, anyone could be fucking better, with the exception maybe of Matt LaFleur, than Kevin Patullo. All right, my second takeaway is I think after this game, Jalen Phillips will quickly become a Philly favorite. The newest Eagles certainly made an impression before the game, stating to NBC Philadelphia that there's, quote, not a better place I'd rather play, referring to Philadelphia after the completion of his trade from Miami. His energy is on point. He's already built a great rapport with his teammates. He's talking to them like he's been there for several years and is a veteran leader, which I kind of love. And on top of that, In his Philly debut, he balled the fuck out, got the game ball, and was all over social media with love for Philadelphia. 6 total tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a fumble recovery. Him and Nakobe Dean were easily the 2 best defensive players for the entire team on that field. Phillips didn't hold back anything. He was quick to disengage from the blocks, from the tackles, or the tight ends, and he was just manhandling players in the backfield. This type of edge rusher was what we needed, and Phillips made a hell of a case for being the best option that we could have gotten. A great fucking game from Jalen Phillips. Might cop a jersey after this. Can't wait to see more out of him. All right, my final takeaway from this game is that our defense played their best game of the season. Our defense as a group achieved 67 total tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections, 8 cornerback hits, and technically 2 turnovers because there was a fumble recovered on a 4th down. And statistically, not just my own opinion, this was our defense's best game of the 2025 season. Despite the low scoring of the game overall, this is what we wanted to see from our defense. To hold Green Bay to just 7 points and holding them to 0 points up until the 4th quarter is impressive enough. It only gets more impressive when you hear that the Packers were averaging 27 points per game before Week 10. They put up 27 against the Lions, the Bengals, the Cardinals, 40 against the Cowboys, 35 against the Steelers, and a couple of those teams have pretty good defenses. And the Eagles held them to just 7, the Packers' lowest scoring game of the season. The defense deserves their flowers for that. It absolutely helped having Jalen Phillips join the team and having Nolan Smith return from IR, getting Nakobe Dean back in Week 5. But even guys like Jalix Hunt, who started out kind of slow this year, have an absolutely baller game. Zach Bond had another solid game. Adoree Jackson had a decent game, honestly better than what he's done so far. You also got Moro Ojomo calling out the 4th and 1 play by the Packers that led to the crucial turnover on downs. You had lots of great stuff from a lot of individuals. But overall, even though it was kind of painful to watch this game with how little production the offenses were getting, this is the kind of win we want to see when we can hold an offense who scores 27 points a game to just 1 score and doing it all in terrible conditions with terrible field conditions, doing it not just individually, but as a team, as one fluid movement. Now, Detroit's going to be a harder matchup, so hopefully the defense can bring this same or a higher level of energy for that matchup. But overall, an awesome job by the defense. All right, y'all, let's dive into this Week 11 preview. The Birds are coming off a Monday night performance that really didn't give ESPN a reason to make up with YouTube TV, but nonetheless got the dub. Meanwhile, the Lions are coming off a dominant win, putting up over 40 points while holding Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders to just 22 points. While the Eagles' defense shined, the offense can definitely use some work, which requires head coach Nick Sirianni and offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo to rethink their strategies from last week. The Lions are 6-3, now leading the NFC North, and they're looking to climb the ladder in the NFC rankings, while Philly continues wanting to show the world that they are capable of going back-to-back because they've gone pack-to-pack against the Packers the last 3 times, all in the span of a year and some change. Here's what I think the Eagles need to do in order to get a win over Detroit this Sunday. First thing, we need to protect the middle of the field. The Commanders left the middle of the field wide open, and on like the first 2 Detroit touchdowns in their game, one came off an inside slant to the middle and another off an angle route to the middle, and coverage was either extremely weak or basically non-existent, allowing easy touchdowns from Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, and Cooper DeJean, and any other linebackers and nickels that go in that rotation are going to have to communicate extremely well with each other to keep the middle of the field from being exposed, especially considering Fangio loves his too high safety scheme. Now, I think he should consider moving at least one safety a little bit more shallow, but I'm not the expert here, he is, so I'll leave that up to him. Long story short, we cannot leave the middle of the field just wide the fuck open, especially considering the Eagles have a history of recently letting up in the middle of the field over the past couple of years, because I've talked about this, and then having it come back to bite us in the ass. Next thing we need to do, blitz more. This seems pretty simple enough. Fangio isn't a big blitzer, so to say, but with Gibbs and Montgomery in the backfield, the Birds are going to have to shut down that run game as close to the line of scrimmage as possible. Plus, Jared Goff isn't much of a rushing or scrambling quarterback, considering he ranks 39th in the league for quarterbacks in rushing yards. So that means if Goff can't get the run off, he's passing. He's not going to scramble himself. He's not going to do quarterback draws, nothing like that. He's going to throw the ball. If we don't give him enough time by blitzing to either hand it off or get a pass going, the passing game hopefully will be not as effective as it was against Washington. Plus, this gives the Birds a chance to reduce those big rushing yard opportunities that both Montgomery and Gibbs just love to showcase on a weekly basis. Next strategy, and this is more so for the coaches. Do not let Dan Campbell's aggressiveness cloud judgment and decision making. Lions head coach Dan Campbell is known for his aggressiveness, especially on fourth down situations. And against a high caliber team like the Philadelphia Eagles, he'll look to pull out all the tricks against us. And after Sirianni's very questionable and pretty boneheaded call on 4th and 6, that doesn't help. Egos need to be put aside, and we should not give into the peer pressure to match Campbell's aggressiveness. I think we should match his energy, but not at the cost of making too aggressive of moves that can put us in detrimental situations, kind of like what we could have seen against Green Bay. And last thing I think we need to do, and I feel like we've talked about this a lot and something that we all want to see, open up the damn passing game. The Lions gave up 2 touchdowns in the air and an over 130 rating to Marcus Mariota. Jalen Hurts is one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. He's proved it many times, and with A.J. Brown's talent, he should not be getting 13 yards in a game. I know our receivers had a hard time getting open against the Packers secondary, but I think that is not a talent thing. That is because we continue to only run these basic-ass vanilla passing plays. I want the route trees of our receivers to look like blood vessels, just all over the damn place, and not some basic linear-ass bullshit. Just let Jalen fucking cook, and the team will be eating good after this week. All right, before we end this week's episode, let's take on some predictions. And this looks like this could be a high-scoring game. But I mean, most games look like high-scoring games after what we just saw. But I think with this game, the way these two teams play and in primetime, we'll see something great. I don't know if the fans can take another shitty primetime game after you had 2 consecutive ones where no team could get over 10 points. All the non-football related drama bullshit aside, I think this game is where the Birds can put up a lot of points. So I'm going with a 35-28 victory for the Eagles. I think Dallas Goedert gets a touchdown this week. I see A.J. Brown going for 2 touchdowns because that just seems to happen soon enough after some big drama thing comes out. And I see Saquon and Jalen getting in the end zone with their feet. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15. Or by the full name, 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video uploading to YouTube later that same day. This episode, 2nd and 15, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Chickies and Pete's Drexel Hill. Voted #1 sports bar in North America by ESPN, check out the Drexel Hill location of Chickies and Pete's. From buffalo wings and snow crab to lobster cheesesteak and burgers, you can find something that you love only at Chickies and Pete's. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. Don't forget to check out the game this Sunday night in primetime, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC, with the game also streaming on Peacock. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds.